A few sticks of wood on the coals, and I would be back in business again.
A few years ago, I saw a documentary about this guy. His name is Dick Proenneke, Proenneke. He was born in 1916. He died in 2003. He was a self-educated naturalist, conservationist, writer, and wildlife photographer who, for 30 years, from 1968 until 1998, he built from nothing with no power tools, just using hand tools. He built a small, simple cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere in Alaska, and he lived there for 30 years. No electricity, no plumbing, no internet, no phone, no neighbors, no other people. He lived there by himself. A couple times a year, a plane would fly in with some supplies for him. The cabin that he built is on the National Register of Historic Places, and the cabin is located at Lake Clark National Park. But he did two things. He kept extensive, detailed daily journals. And he also had a movie camera. I think it was a 16 millimeter camera. And he documented and narrated a lot of the things that he did. He hunted, fished, raised, and gathered his own food. He documented his activities in daily journals and on film. He also kept incredibly detailed records of meteorological data and nature-related data in the area. I saw a documentary on him several years ago and have just been utterly fascinated by him and his life ever since. He enlisted in the United States Navy the day after the attack on Pearl Harbor, and served during World War II. And, you know, he went through all of that stuff and did all of those things. And then he decided to build a cabin in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. And he lived there for over 30 years until he was well into his 80s. And, you know, it's like, given the current climate in the United States, who isn't at least a little bit envious of that? Right? Right? I mean, I spent a big chunk of my this evening looking at cabins for sale up in the Sierras where I want to move in the next few months with Raven. She's on board. And who doesn't envy that? Who doesn't envy that today? No internet, no news, no neighbors, no politics, no nothing, no electricity, no plumbing, no running water. You hunt and fish and raise and gather all your own food. You have lanterns. You have a wood stove. You have an oven and a stovetop that burns wood. And you just live in nature. There were some downsides. It got to around 50 degrees below zero sometimes during the winter. And the winters up there are very long. And so it's like during the spring, summer, a little bit into the fall months, he had to prepare. He had to prepare for the winter. He spent all of that time preparing for the winter. But his cabin was very near. It's like you can find his videos in videos that he made. You can find him on YouTube. And again, his name is Dick Proenneke, spelled Proenneke. And you can see where his cabin was, you know, against a backdrop of just massive Alaskan mountains and a lake. And he made canoes and he made fishing gear. And, you know, he had hunting gear. And I saw a video of him earlier today where it's like he went out hiking, you know, to some blueberry patches, and he had to wait. He had to wait for the grizzly bears to leave so that he could go in and pick a couple 3 gallons of blueberries and preserve them to help get him through the winter. And he hunted, and he had this basically an enclosed tree house that was, I don't know, 15 feet off the ground, where he would hang and cure meat from animals that he hunted to help get him through the winter. He would preserve salmon up in there to help get him through the winter. And, you know, it became, I think, a TV series called Alone in the Wild. And, you know, who doesn't envy that right now, today, in this environment? Who doesn't envy that? No people, no news, no internet, living in nature in one of the absolutely most incredibly gorgeous, beautiful, dangerous places on the entire planet. And he did that for over 30 years. He did that for over 30 years. And he built his cabin with a fucking handsaw and a hammer. Those were the tools that he took with him. Like a handsaw, a hammer, and a knife and a gun. I'm wildly close to wanting that now. Like right fucking now. Right? I mean, come on, man. Dick Proenneke, dude was a fucking legend.